The African savanna is not a land of hope or mercy. It is a place where every day begins with hunger and often ends in loss. The ground tells silent stories, tracks of failed hunts, signs of fallen animals, and marks left by those that barely escaped. Survival here is not heroic or noble. It is harsh, relentless, and unforgiving. Across these open plains, true shelter does not exist. Tall grass hides watchful predators, while the shade of a lone tree can become a deadly illusion of safety. Every step demands caution. Every movement is a calculated risk. To live here is to remain exposed, knowing that a single mistake, a moment of inattention, a brief delay can end everything. Life on the savanna is sustained through struggle and sacrifice. Prey animals endure constant fear, injuries, and exhausting chases beneath an unforgiving sun. Predators, despite their power, fail far more often than they succeed, and many pay the ultimate price for a missed opportunity. In this ecosystem, no creature is unstoppable, and none are truly secure. Survival is earned through pain, exhaustion, and often the loss of others. This is not cruelty, but an ancient balance that allows no second chances. In the African savanna, existence itself is a continuous battle, and lasting one more day is a victory shaped by conflict and resilience. The warthog moves slowly across dry, cracked ground, its head lowered and snout brushing close to the surface. Each time it digs, fresh marks appear on the hardened soil. Its long, curved tusks break through the earth, exposing roots that still hold traces of moisture. A stocky body, thick skin, and sparse hair help shield it from extreme heat while reducing water loss in an unforgiving environment. During the long dry season, the warthog adjusts its daily behavior. Activity is limited to early morning and late afternoon, avoiding the intense heat of midday. As food becomes scarce, it expands its range in search of buried roots and tubers. With a strong sense of spatial memory, it can return accurately to feeding sites visited weeks earlier. Each act of digging disturbs the soil, creating shallow depressions that later collect rainwater. Seeds settle in these small basins and begin to sprout when the wet season arrives. What was once barren ground slowly transforms with new plant growth. Through repeated foraging, warthogs keep the soil loose and play a role in supporting vegetation recovery. At the sound of something unfamiliar, the animal freezes, its ears rise, and it turns into the wind to gather information. If danger is detected, it sprints toward its burrow, always entering backward so its tusks face outward. Every movement follows a precise, survival-driven pattern. Though warthogs are rarely social, their presence stretches across wide areas of the savanna. The ground they disturb, feeding pits, resting spots, and altered soil becomes valuable habitat for smaller species. Despite their solitary nature, warthogs act as natural engineers, shaping the land and supporting balance within the lower levels of the ecosystem. Hidden within tall grass, a lioness presses her body close to the ground. The fading afternoon light reflects off her dust-covered coat. Ahead, a warthog moves slowly, unaware of the threat. The wind direction masks her scent. The chase begins only when the distance closes to under 30 meters. Within seconds, the lioness surges forward, reaching speeds of nearly 65 kilometers per hour. The warthog reacts instantly, veering sharply and running across open terrain. The lioness follows, but the uneven, dry ground quickly drains her momentum. As the opportunity fades, she stops, controls her breathing, and remains still. Energy must be conserved for the next attempt. Hunting is not driven by impulse, but by structure and coordination. Within a pride, each lion has a specific role. Some advance, while others block escape routes. Every attempt tests patience and teamwork. When a hunt succeeds, prey populations remain regulated, helping grasslands stay healthy. Afterward, the remains provide food for hyenas, vultures, and insects. Nothing is wasted. The flow of energy continues, sustaining life across every level of the savanna. Beneath the spreading branches of acacia trees, the lion asserts its dominance with uncompromising authority. It represents the highest form of collective power among the great cats. Unlike the solitary cheetah, lions live and hunt within highly organized social units known as prides. The male's mane is more than a visual display. It provides added protection during confrontations with rivals. Yet, it is the lionesses faster, more agile, and tightly coordinated that carry out most of the hunting. Their ability to work as a unified force makes the lion a strategic and efficient predator, a rare trait among felines. Ambushes most often occur at night or in the early hours of dawn, when cooler temperatures allow for longer pursuits. The lionesses fan out in a curved formation while one advances to separate a target from the herd. Once the prey is brought down, combined strength ensures a swift end. Life within a pride, however, is not always stable. Conflict extends beyond the hunt. Internal disputes are frequent and shape access to food and status. While group living increases hunting success, it also creates constant tension. Dominant males must remain vigilant. When a new male takes control, aggression reaches its peak. Cubs fathered by the previous leader may be killed, ensuring that only the new genetic line continues. From a human perspective, this behavior appears harsh. From a biological standpoint, it is a strategy that secures reproductive success in a competitive environment. A lion's roar is a declaration of authority. More than sound, it functions as a territorial weapon. Low-frequency calls can travel up to 8 kilometers, forming an acoustic boundary that warns rivals to stay away. For pride members that have wandered, the roar also serves as a guide, leading them back. Even so, survival demands constant awareness. Large groups of hyenas can challenge dominance, and prolonged droughts may sharply reduce prey availability. The lion embodies a complex balance of strength, cooperation, and social aggression. Its presence alone alters the behavior of surrounding species, shaping the entire rhythm of the savanna. In the savanna, lions stand at the top of the ecological hierarchy. Their presence regulates prey numbers and prevents overgrazing of vegetation. As night falls, a lioness withdraws into shaded areas to recover energy. Every action, stalking, sprinting, or resting follows a finely tuned balance of energy that governs life in the wild. On an open mound, a group of mongooses spreads out to monitor their surroundings. One climbs to the highest point, rising upright on its hind legs. Its eyes scan the horizon while its ears remain in constant motion. Even the slightest disturbance in the grass is noticed. Silence is maintained until a true threat appears. In the distance, a lion moves carefully through the yellowed grass. A shift in the wind causes dry leaves to rustle softly. That single sound is enough to trigger alarm. A sharp, brief call passes through the group. Within seconds, the mongooses vanish into burrows or flatten themselves against the ground. Mongooses are not direct participants in the predator-prey relationship, yet they serve a critical role as an early warning system. Their alarm calls alert nearby animals, including small antelopes and ground-dwelling birds. The response spreads outward, creating a temporary zone of stillness across the savanna. Once the danger passes, normal activity resumes. They dig in search of insects, eggs, larvae, and tender roots. Each small excavation loosens the soil, improving aeration and water absorption. When old burrows are abandoned, the tunnels become shelters for snakes, lizards, and small birds. Through constant vigilance, digging, and coexistence, mongooses help sustain ecological balance. Their small bodies link the underground world with the surface, regulating both soil health and the flow of alertness that shapes daily life on the savanna. As night settles in, temperatures drop quickly and moisture begins to rise from the ground. Spotted hyenas emerge from their dens, moving in a loose formation that allows them to cover wide areas. Their ears remain alert, and their noses read the shifting wind. In darkness, sound, and scent guide every step. A young antelope drifts away from its herd. A faint noise cuts through the air. The hyenas pause, then subtly change direction. The hunt begins in complete silence. No calls, no growls. They close in carefully, then surge forward without warning. The chase lasts less than a minute, ending with a precise bite to the hindquarters. Coordination within the clan rivals that of many top predators. Each member has a defined role. The leading female sets the course, while others seal off escape routes. When the prey collapses, feeding follows a strict order. Hyena society is matriarchal. The dominant female eats first, followed by the rest of the group. After the meal, nothing remains. Bones, hide, and even marrow are crushed and consumed. Their powerful jaws and highly efficient digestive system extract nutrients from material few other animals can use. No trace is left behind, no remains, no lingering scent. The ecological role of the hyena extends far beyond hunting. They act as natural recyclers, removing carcasses and limiting the spread of disease. Through this quiet work, the savanna remains balanced, even in the aftermath of death. Strong winds sweep across the open grasslands as a pack of African wild dogs begins to move. More than 10 individuals travel in single file, their pace perfectly synchronized. The formation resembles a coordinated unit, each animal maintaining its position without conflict or disorder. When prey is detected, communication occurs through body language, a flick of the tail, a brief turn, a short, sharp call. The hunt begins immediately. There is no ambush and no attempt to hide. Their strategy relies on direct pursuit and endurance. These hunters can sustain speeds close to 55 kilometers per hour for over 5 minutes, outperforming any other savanna predator in long-distance chases. The prey does not fall from a sudden strike, but from exhaustion. Once it can no longer continue, the pack closes in and brings it down with precision. Feeding is rapid and organized. Meat is shared evenly, with no displays of dominance or aggression. Every member, including juveniles and injured individuals, receives a portion. This fair distribution strengthens the pack as a whole. The social structure of African wild dogs is among the most stable in the ecosystem. There is no absolute leader. Decisions emerge through shared signals and collective responses. This system of consensus explains their exceptional hunting success, which exceeds 70%. After feeding, the pack rests briefly before resuming its journey. They do not defend fixed territories. Constant movement reduces pressure on grazing areas and limits direct competition with lions and hyenas. Through this continuous roaming, African wild dogs regulate herbivore populations across vast regions, helping keep the savanna dynamic and balanced. African buffalo live in large herds that can number in the hundreds. Each adult weighs over 770 kilograms, with dense muscle mass and heavy, curved horns that form a natural defensive shield. Their movement is slow and deliberate, with consistent spacing between individuals. When a threat appears, the herd structure changes instantly. Adult males move to the outer edge, while females and calves gather at the center. No calls are exchanged, and no commands are given. The response emerges through instinctive coordination. When attacked, the herd does not flee, it stands its ground. Dozens of horns lower at once as the formation tightens. Confrontations often last only seconds, yet that is usually enough to drive off even a lion. In many cases, the buffalo counterattack, chasing the predator away and protecting injured members. Their true strength lies not in individual power, but in unity. This cohesion makes buffalo one of the few herbivores capable of resisting large predators. As they move, buffalo trample dry grass and create paths used by smaller species. When they pause, their waste enriches the soil and promotes plant growth. Within the savanna ecosystem, buffalo herds act as powerful agents of energy transfer from grass to predators and ultimately back to the land. Their presence ensures that this vital cycle continues without interruption. Across the open plains, zebra herds move in long, unbroken lines. Hundreds of bodies travel one after another as hooves strike the dry ground in a steady rhythm. A cloud of dust rises on the horizon. There is no visible leader. Movement is guided entirely by collective instinct. When water sources disappear, the herds shift toward lower ground, where moisture still remains. The zebra's migratory pattern is sustained by natural order. Adults set the pace. Foals stay close, and the most vulnerable individuals remain protected within the group. When predators appear, the herd does not scatter. Instead, it forms curved or circular formations. Each animal responds to the movement of its neighbor, creating a chain reaction that functions as a defense system built on coordinated motion. Black and white stripes serve more than identification. They help regulate body temperature. As sunlight hits the body, temperature differences between light and dark bands generate small air currents that cool the skin. At the same time, the striped pattern disrupts a predator's visual tracking, acting as a highly effective form of dynamic camouflage. Covering distances of hundreds of kilometers, zebras lead the great migrations of the savanna. They open pathways later used by antelope and buffalo. Trampled grass allows fresh shoots to emerge after rainfall, while their droppings fertilize the soil. Each movement reactivates the nutrient cycle of the grasslands. When the rains return, the journey pauses. The herds settle and wait for the next season to begin. The migration repeats year after year, precisely timed to the rhythm of climate, a natural pulse that defines life across the African plains. Each year, more than 1 million wildebeest leave the Serengeti and move toward the Mara River in search of fresh grazing land. Their migration forms a living river, stretching for dozens of kilometers across the savanna. The ground trembles beneath the impact of thousands of hooves. Every animal follows the one ahead, without hesitation. The movement is driven solely by the availability of water and grass. As rainfall shifts, the herds adjust their direction. There is no leader. Decisions emerge from collective momentum. When the first wildebeest enters the river, the rest follow. The water runs deep and the current is strong, but instinct outweighs fear. Hundreds fail to make the crossing and are swept away by the current. Their bodies become food for crocodiles, fish, and scavenging birds. Those that survive press on. The losses do not halt the migration. They are part of the natural order. Upon reaching new ground, the herds feed on fresh grass that rises after the rains. Their droppings enrich the shallow soils, allowing the savanna to recover quickly. Months later, when grass begins to fade, the herds reverse their route and return along the same paths. The migration never truly ends, It simply changes direction with the seasons. The movement of wildebeest functions like a circulatory system for African ecosystems. It links distant plains and transfers energy from one region to another. On a continental scale, their journey is the steady heartbeat of the savanna, a continuous flow of life renewed year after year. Across the dry lands, African elephants move with slow but steady steps. Each footfall presses deep into the earth, leaving lasting impressions behind. The herd is composed of adult females, young calves, and an older matriarch who leads the journey, carrying generations of memory and experience. Their remarkable sense of smell allows them to detect water sources from several kilometers away. When they reach a dry riverbed, they use their tusks and feet to dig until they uncover underground moisture. These simple actions create water holes that sustain other species' birds, antelope, monkeys, and even lions. During the dry season, each pool becomes a temporary center of life. For this reason, elephants are known as natural engineers of the savanna, capable of reshaping the landscape through their behavior. Elephants consume hundreds of kilograms of vegetation each day: grass, bark, roots, and dry branches. By knocking down trees and breaking limbs, they open clearings that allow sunlight to reach the ground, encouraging new plant growth. Their dung carries undigested seeds across vast distances, promoting vegetation renewal far from its original source. The presence of elephants directly influences the health and productivity of the ecosystem. As they move, elephants trample grass, loosen compacted soil, and speed up natural decomposition. Where elephants disappear, the savanna begins to lose balance, soil hardens, and plant diversity declines. Every footprint they leave behind is not just a mark, but the beginning of another ecological cycle. Elephants do not hunt, yet nearly every species depends indirectly on their actions. This is how nature operates. True strength is not measured by destruction, but by the ability to sustain life. A giant of the savanna moves forward with the caution of a seasoned fighter. The rhinoceros, wrapped in thick, armor-like skin, projects an impression of near impenetrable strength. Weighing up to 200 kilograms, its mere presence commands respect. Unlike elephants, rhinos live largely solitary lives, spending much of the day grazing or resting in shaded areas. Despite its size and power, the rhinoceros has poor eyesight. To compensate, it relies on an exceptionally sharp sense of smell. When it detects danger, its response can be sudden and forceful, launching into a charge that can reach speeds of nearly 50 kilometers per hour. Its horn, used as a forward weapon, turns this momentum into a formidable defense. Near muddy waterholes, the rhinoceros rolls and coats its body with a thick layer of mud. This behavior provides natural protection against parasites and intense solar radiation. The rhino's horn is made of keratin, the same material found in human hair, yet it can grow to over 1.5 meters in length. Combined with the animal's mass and speed, it becomes an ancient tool of power, capable of immense force in rare encounters. Although elephants and rhinoceroses differ greatly in behavior and lifestyle, both play vital roles within the ecosystem. Their movements, feeding habits, and the changes they create in the environment generate microhabitats used by countless species, from small birds to insects. These giants do not merely dominate the landscape, they support it, helping maintain the balance that sustains life across the African savanna. The cheetah is the fastest land animal on Earth. It can accelerate from 0 to nearly 100 kilometers per hour in about 3 seconds and maintain extreme speed for 20 to 30 seconds. Its highly flexible spine allows strides reaching up to 7 meters in length. The dark, tear-shaped lines running from its eyes reduce glare from the sun and sharpen visual focus on moving prey. Today, the cheetah is listed as vulnerable on the red list, with fewer than 7,000 individuals remaining in the wild. Habitat loss and competition with larger predators pose the greatest threats to its survival. Every hunt requires precise calculation. The cheetah studies the terrain, chooses the optimal approach angle, and tracks its target with intense focus before unleashing a final burst of speed. Mistakes are not an option. After a successful capture, it must feed quickly before scavengers or stronger predators arrive. Across open grasslands, the cheetah moves with agility and rapid response. Long strides and explosive acceleration allow it to adjust instantly to sudden changes in terrain. Each chase is a perfect synchronization of muscle power, speed, and timing. Cheetahs directly influence populations of antelope and other herbivores. By hunting selectively, they help maintain ecological balance within grassland systems. Their activity shifts with the seasons and prey availability. As the landscape changes, the cheetah adapts its strategy to remain effective. In open ecosystems, the cheetah serves as a keystone species, an essential regulator within the savanna's food web, where every sprint shapes the balance between survival and life. This chapter of the African savanna now comes to a close, a landscape where life and death exist side by side at every moment. Here, struggles for survival are not dramatic exceptions, but essential forces that have sustained this ecosystem for thousands of years. Every chase, every confrontation, and every escape, successful or not, keeps the fragile machinery of the wild in motion. Across these vast plains, survival means accepting constant risk, facing hunger, exhaustion, and danger with unwavering resolve. There are no eternal victors and no final defeats, only species that adapt, endure, and move forward, driven by the oldest instinct on Earth. Survival here is earned through effort, danger, and sometimes the ultimate sacrifice. Yet beyond the harshness of these scenes lies a deeper message: this wild world must be understood and protected. Every animal plays an irreplaceable role, and the loss of one disrupts the balance of all. Preserving the African savanna means preserving a living story, one that continues to unfold each day beneath an unforgiving sun. If this journey through the wild has informed you, moved you, or sparked your curiosity, we invite you to support this project. Like the video, subscribe to Hidden Planet TV, and join us in future explorations of the animal world, where life reveals itself in its most raw, powerful, and authentic form.